going to be a slightly different video than what I normally put up because there's not going to be much change happening with any of the cars that I'm working on or any of the stuff we're working towards on Clapped Out. It's mainly a PSA for younger dudes that are trying to get into, I'm sorry, that's sexist, younger people that are trying to get into motorsports and just automotive in general. And it's one of those things where when you're, I mean younger, like high school age, middle school, hell, elementary school, I don't care. Which, again, I hope elementary school kids aren't watching our videos because we say a lot of bad words in these videos. So I will try to keep this as G-rated as possible and leave all the cuss words out, which is so hard for me. No. This is a video that is dedicated to how I made my way into the automotive industry and how I believe a ton of people can as well, and things that are important to growing young people into this passion, this hobby, or this career. It is important to know that you have multiple options to get into this, and I want to highlight what helped me the most and what put me in a position, in my opinion, to succeed long term. But to wind it back a bit, there's something that I think it's overlooked a ton, and I do appreciate that people talk about it, but I do think it could be talked about more. And that is trade schools. And I'm not talking about after high school, you go to, WyoTech or UTI or whatever. I don't even know if those are still around. Hopefully they are. But not talking about a professional school. I'm talking about when you're in high school, when you're in middle school, after school programs or in school programs that are continually being cut and removed from curriculum as they push kids towards fine arts degrees and things of that nature. Not to say there's anything wrong with fine arts degrees. Everybody do what you got to do. Love what you love. Just don't make me pay for your debt. That's all I ask. One of the things that was offered to me in high school, which was brilliant, and I went to high school in Geneva, Illinois, Geneva Community High School, District 304. I don't know why I remember that. But one of the things that was offered was something called the Fox Valley Career Center. And the Fox Valley Career Center was in Caneland High School. And what they would do is they would bus us out to Caneland High School every day, and we would take an automotive technology class. And I believe it was 2 hours long, so I got to leave high school for a couple hours. And we got to learn about cars. We got to install your basic general repair stuff. There was a couple levels of the course, but I just did the first level because I didn't take it until my senior year of high school, which was one of the best things I've ever done. And it was one of the most influential classes I have ever had. And I did I did a little over 5 years of college. Not by choice. Well, yes, by choice. It was just such a good time I didn't want to leave. So there's that. So again, Fox Valley Career Center, automotive technology. This is where I would meet my instructor, Mr. Potvin. Paul Potvin, if you're wondering. Old PP. P squared, if you will. P to the second power. P to this. I was not good at math. I assume that's the P and then there's the 2. And if you put 2 P's next to each other, you'd get him, because that's his initials. Is Paul Potvin, PP. P. Peruski. Let me tell you a little bit about Potvin. I'm going to tell you all about his life, where he comes from, why he is the way he is, and just how, you know what, just, it's good. I think you'll like it. This is Mr. Potvin. Obviously, I don't know if legally I can use his real likeness, so I've made some small adjustments to the picture so that he doesn't come back and sue me. But this is the man that would teach me about automotive technology. And this is the high school that we would get bussed out to. You can tell it is in a little bit of a rural community because kids drive their tractors to school, which is something that I can totally get behind. But Potvin came from a farming community himself. He was born in a small town in Minnesota at a dairy farm. He was actually born in the stalls with the dairy cows. Immediately, he put those udder hands to work and was milking till the sun went down. In his spare time, he works on tractors. This isn't him, but that's about what he looks like. Glasses on, focused, death grip on the wrench, ready to rock and roll. Paul Potvin for president. All right, there may have been some liberties taken with that backstory, but at any rate, I'll let you decide what's true and what's false. At the end of the day, this man had a dramatic effect on me and the trajectory of my he didn't help me speak at all. I will say that. In class, we didn't learn how to speak properly. So that's on him. If you hear me fumble in a video, it's because of Potvin. All right, so one thing to highlight here, and let me start by saying, I don't know how much a trade school instructor makes in terms of salary, but I know how much a dealership technician can make in terms of turning hours and flat rate. I have several friends that make a very comfortable living as technicians in dealerships. And let me say that Potvin could turn some hours. I mean, if he was in a situation, any top tier dealership, I would put my money on him roasting everybody in a flat rate environment. But instead of doing that, he decided, you know what? My passion is teaching, and my passion is helping these kids grow up and molding kids to be better than where they started. What an idiot! He could have been so wealthy. Oh my God. And I've never told him this, but I was way better off at the end of that school year than when I walked into that classroom for the first day. No, first day of auto tech, we walk in there like our poop doesn't stink. See, I'm trying not to cuss. The kids that I was in that class with were the rapscallions of the school, right? And our egos were huge. We thought we couldn't be taught anything. And we got checked so quickly in a very good way. And, let me show you what I looked like in high school so you can see who he had to instruct. Ooh, look at that. EK Civic hatch, GSR swapped, Motegi FF7 wheels, and the aviator shades, baby boy. I was slick with it, son. Yeah, so he has to teach. He has to teach that. That's what he has to teach every day. I don't know. The other thing about Potvin was he was not that much older than us. And the reason for this video is it was his birthday this week. It was his 40th birthday, which is a huge milestone because now he's so old. I mean, he was old when he was our teacher, but he is so old now. But he's only 7 years older than me. So when we were in class, obviously, he's not a high schooler, but you felt like what he was telling you was legitimate. You didn't second guess him. You didn't have a guy that was on his way out that had already been a dealer tech, that had already been through all this stuff. Like, you had a guy that was right in the middle of his career path. And he had this sense of caring that has not left him to this day from everything I've seen, from all the kids that he's been teaching, from all the projects he's been turning, and all the lives he's been touching. It's been a steady state, and I haven't been in a classroom with this dude in over 15 years. And everything that I see, it makes me so happy to see that that's continuing. And I would never have second guessed it from him specifically because the dude doesn't have any quit in him, and that's a fact. Now, I want to bring this back. There's a couple of stories that I want to say real quick, and these things were very important to me, and they have stayed with me my whole life since I was taught these things, rather. And the first thing was I was really in my head about working on my car. I had bought a DSM, and we were working on it in Auto Tech, which was awesome. We could bring the cars out there and work on them, and I was super sketched out about putting a new turbo on the car because I had never done anything like that before. I had paid some friends to swap my Civic for me because I was so green and new and I didn't know anything about cars. And I told him, I came to him and I said, hey, I really want to do this, but I'm super nervous. I don't know how it's going to go and I don't know what I'm doing. And he looks me dead in the face and he says, Logan, it's just nuts and bolts, man. That's all it is. They come apart, they go together. It's nuts and bolts. That's all you got to think about. It's a nut, it's a bolt. That's it. Everything will come together. You'll be fine. And I don't know why, but that has stuck. Anyone that calls me that needs assistance or help on a car, they want to bring the car to our shop to work on it. If it's something they can do themselves and I can save them some money, I tell them it's nuts and bolts. Like, don't be afraid of it. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to get you in your sleep. It's nuts and bolts. Take your time, take a breath, read how to do it, research it if you have to, but it's just nuts and bolts. And that changed my life. It completely changed my life. That is an analogy for so many things that you go through on a day-to-day basis, especially in just everyday life. There's so many things you can approach and say, you know what? It's not that serious. It's A and B. We'll get through it. And that was something that has, again, it's burned into the back of my head. And I appreciate that lesson more than I could ever say. Another thing that happened in class. One of my friends was in class and, again, we're cocky, we're egotistical, we're this, we're that. And he started talking about how he can't wait to get out. He's moving out of his house. He's getting his own place. He's going to be on his own. He's going to do great. He doesn't need anybody. And Potvin said, okay, cool. And he grabs a marker and he goes up to the marker board and he says, where are you going to work? And he tells him, I'll get a job at Jiffy Lube. Okay, well, they make $9 an hour. And he starts to write on the board, salary, how much that he would make, how much taxes are, what he would net, and what he could afford in life. And he plotted it all out behind him. And guess what? It was a deficit every single time. No matter how you twisted it, hey, you want to get out on your own, do your own thing, and you want to stop at this level of training? Well, this is where you're going to end up. So why don't you think more realistically about what you're going to do for a career, how you're going to make money, and where you want to go in life? And it was this check. I'm sitting there like, oh yeah, I should probably be concerned with what am I going to do with my life instead of just, I need to get out of this situation. And that was huge. You don't expect those life lessons. You think you'd get them in high school, your normal class, like accounting. Never got it. I never got it in a finance class. I never got it in a school, any other class, even in college. I never once had that type of lesson. I had it in auto tech, thanks to Potvin. Anyway, this whole video is a huge shout out and a happy 40th birthday to Mr. Potvin. I can say without a doubt, and there's no question in my mind, that the race car stuff, the street car stuff, my entire career, everything I have done professionally to this point, you have had a part in, and you have put me on a trajectory and a path to do the things I've done and to go the places I've gone. I have met some incredible people. I have worked with some incredible companies. I have made a comfortable living and I have enjoyed it every step of the way. And none of that, absolutely none of that was possible without stepping foot in your classroom for the first time. I should also note your birthday was like Wednesday, I think. But you should know, I don't think I have ever turned an assignment in on time. So happy birthday to you. Ha! Happy birthday to you, Mr. Potvin, Mr. Potvin, P squared, Peter the Power, Powley, 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 Powley.